everybody, and welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. There's a lot going on in town, and I want you to know this is kind of a precursor for tomorrow's big Super Saturday that I can tell you is going to be worth bringing your friends back to. We'll have Dr. Colgan speaking. We're going to have a corporate person here talking about marketing. And so for any of you that have been here, this is your very first time to take a look at Isagenix or just see what's going on. I just want to see how many of this is just brand new. Okay. All right. Okay, good. Well, welcome. There's an old adage that happens this time of year. Would you agree that the old extra 5, maybe 10 pounds starts to creep on because it's Halloween time? And then we move right into Thanksgiving. And then, of course, Christmas is the best of all. So how many can relate to simply putting your life a little bit on hold as far as managing the health, the weight, what goes into your mouth? How many can relate that this is a very challenging time of year? Okay? And most of us have felt that way simply because of the parties, Grandma's cookies, the fudge, and everything. But what I'd like you to imagine for a moment, if I could show you and engage you in that this might be a holiday, that you don't have to face that, and that I can give you a system that can help you feel fabulous in your skin and look fabulous in your holiday attire and not have to start the new year with that resolution of, here we go again. Here is my another diet routine. And we all know that stress this time of year in the financial picture is probably bigger than the weight that's on our list. Would you agree with that? We all want to be able to give. We all want to be able to receive. But most importantly, we don't want to have January come again and Visa arrives and there we have it, the interest and the bill that is overwhelming. I'd like you to kind of check out right now. And what I mean by that is I'm going to engage you, so I want you to be able to share with me, first of all, imagine for a moment that you can script and design your life this very moment. You have unlimited time, you have unlimited finances, and we're moving into the holiday season. And what I'd like you to share with me is, how would this season look just a little bit different? Would it be the trip? What would you do differently if none of that was an issue? I need volunteers. Ken?
Okay, so this on, Chad? I think it's on.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. There we go. Okay, so I was just doing that, what she said, you know, kind of check out for a second. And so I told my little girl that I said, you know what, I want to take you to Hawaii. So I checked out for a second and was sitting on the beach, got a little lounge chair, and I've got my phone and I'm actually communicating in with people, and my little girl's out playing on the beach, and so she comes back and says, Dad, can you do that later? So I put my phone away because I just got done enrolling somebody. Put my phone away. And so just hung out on the beach for a little bit, and that's actually a plan. So we were hanging out in Hawaii for a while. I'm still able to work, nice. But yet I've got the freedom to be with the family. So that's kind of where I was just hanging out.
Thanks, yeah. Ken.
Yeah.
Okay, Miss Angela.
I see in my future a prepaid trip with no debt after, taking my husband back to Belize, where you and I had an amazing time.
Perfect. All right. Belize. It was fabulous. Who else? Where are you going? What are you going to do? Susan.
Yeah, I see myself taking my boys to Italy and just traveling and just no worries about bills being left at home or leaving a job behind, but just that feeling of peace of mind and knowing that we can just be there and be full of joy and enjoy, just every moment. So
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Susan. When this is presented, I have to tell you that one of my friends simply reminded me that there's a time where I would not have known what to say, that my life was so busy and then my head was so far down with responsibility, having to be places, having to do, that I really couldn't have answered that. And so to be able to look up and answer that question with a freedom is just a whole new walk of life. Jolene.
Yes, I've been with Isagenix 5 years now, and I can tell you that just even 2 years ago at Christmas time, we couldn't really afford to pay for gifts beyond our family. Last year, we sponsored a family, all their gifts, every single one of them, and all their food, too.
Wow.
And so it's about giving back, right? It's not just about ourselves and what we're going to give.
Lovely.
So this year, our goal would be to find 2, 3, who knows how many people, but just to lay it on your hearts that it is about everyone else, too, and that this is a legacy company that allows us to give back, not just give to ourselves.
Perfect.
So,
thank you, Jolene. Anybody else? Miss Francis, all the way from Montana.
I will say, because this really just happened, a few weeks ago I went into a store to buy a birthday gift for one of my little girl's friends, and I also wanted to get my daughter's birthday gift. And there was a horse, like a plastic horse, and they're like $45. I was like, for a plastic horse? And my husband had said, will you get a barn? I think that'd be really cool for our daughters to start getting the barn and the horses. And I was like, there's no way we can afford this right now. And I walked up to the woman and I said, is there another barn that you have that isn't so big? And she goes, well, you know what? I need to make room for some others. I can put this one half price. I was like, I will take it, and the reason why I'll take it is because I know my holiday bonus is already sitting there.
All right.
And I was like, I can afford it!
Thanks, Francis. Good job. All right. Thank you, everybody. So my goal, I only need one mic. I'm so grateful for John. Keeps me on. Thanks, John. All right. Let me get my place here, you guys. So Jolene, to be able to say, to give and contribute, I really believe that that is the goal for all of us. First and foremost, to take care of our families and our loved ones. But what can we contribute to others? What would that look like? And I want you to know that Isagenix has been this gift that not only can change your lives, but my goal tonight is to show and shine what it's done as a beacon of light, of hope, to be able to give to others and have that legacy live on and on. For those of you I have not met, my name is Carol Waldenberg. Would it be okay if I shared my journey to Isagenix, that of which has been 9 years? Thank you. I met this lovely woman named Joni Brewer. You will meet her tonight. I'm honored that she's here. I met her at the Bloomsday display 9 years ago. And she said to me, Carol, you can release 7 to 15 pounds in 9 days. And I looked at Joni and I said, Joni, I don't believe that. And I don't think it's possibly even healthy, as I'm unhealthy, okay? And so I stepped right over to my big ego and I said, who cares if it's healthy? I need to release 7 to 15 pounds, and I'm going to prove them wrong, okay? And so day 4, slept like a baby. Day 9, 12 pounds gone, and felt amazing. And I knew at that point that this was different than my prior yo-yo years, okay? And Joni mentioned to me, she says, Carol, there is a business attached here. And I said, thank you very much. No business here. I got one. I worked for corporate America as a pharmaceutical representative. I had golden handcuffs. And that just meant I had, you know, the 401. I had the supposedly nice car. I had the expense account. But the truth is I had no life. They owned me. I did what they said when they said. And as you can see here, I have two beautiful daughters that as a single mom I chose to adopt from China. And for me, the change over the course of my life happened in a hotel room in Wenatchee, Washington. And I'd finished talking with them and talking with the nanny. And as I put the phone down, my heart was just heavy because I thought I didn't really go across the world to adopt these two girls to sit in a hotel room and have somebody else raise them. But as a single person in Spokane, Washington, I couldn't imagine what else would I do in Spokane to earn approximately $100,000. And so I had my mindset so wrapped around, there's nothing here. And yet, when that reality hit me of, I'll be here next week if I don't do something now. And so I asked myself two questions. One, if I worked as hard for me as I do the stockholders of this company, would in fact my dreams come true versus building their dreams? And two, would it take me how long to have time freedom and financial freedom with my girls? Could that be maybe 5 years? And what would that look like? And so at that point I decided I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I was going to follow that woman, but I didn't know network marketing. I knew I could learn anything, and I knew I could trust Miss Joni Brewer. So at that point, I jumped off the ship. It took me 2 years to replace my income. I became the 58th millionaire, and I've never looked back. An adventure for us was last year. I plucked my daughters out. We went to Costa Rica for the year, and they learned Spanish. I struggled with Spanish, but it's wonderful. And you know, we learned about culture, we learned about being uncomfortable, and the discovery of just another way of life that they will enrich them and we will have forever. So it is my honor tonight to you to be able to introduce my mentor, my coach. First of all, I want to tell you what her ranking is. That may not mean anything to some of you, and bottom line, what I'm going to tell you. An 8-star Golden Circle, she makes a lot of money, okay? But here's the best part. 13-star Crystal Exec means she's helped a lot of us make a lot of money. And she's had and won every award there is possibly in Isagenix, from Woman of the Year to Field Advisory Board, which means that she represents us as the associates, Spirit of Isagenix, Above and Beyond. She even got an award for the largest organization of growth in North America. And she is our 30th millionaire. But bigger than all of that, you guys, she has a heart of gold. She has tenacity that won't stop. She has built the foundation of Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, and surrounding areas with just her true grit. It is my honor. Please stand and welcome Miss Joni Brewer.
Do you want it? How bad do you need it? Are you eating, sleeping, dreaming with that one thing on your mind? How bad do you want it? How bad do you need it? 'Cause if you want it all, you gotta lay it all out on the line. That's right.
Okay, that's good. Well, welcome, guys. This is fun. I just hope that tonight you'll be able to hear something that I heard 10 years ago that kind of got inside me. And basically, it was just common sense. You know, I needed it. I needed the product. Products work. And I needed the business. And I know that I can work. And so those are the things that we hope you kind of get a little hint of tonight. And so we put together some slides for you to just cover the basics. And I hope that when you see it, I'm just going to kind of run through the things that I think that are important, being how I get the microphone and I'm on stage. And I'm just going to touch them. I'm going to tap on them because it's really just a tap here and a tap there that always brings somebody's belief up a little bit and up a little bit. Some people get it really quick, and sometimes people have to get it really quick. I had to get it really quick. And I know our time is a little bit off. I'm going to just touch on my story if you'd like to hear it. Does anybody know where Shelton, Washington is? Well, I'm born and raised. Well, actually, I was born in McClary, if you know, that's even littler. And my husband and I are both born by the same doctor. We didn't know it till later, but anyway. We're from Shelton, went to high school there, graduated, got married, and then went to work at the sawmill. And I actually did too, and I didn't like it. And but I got pregnant and got to leave, and so Todd got stuck there for 30 years. Until 2007 when he got to walk away. So our story is my girlfriend told me, just like some of you, a friend has told you about Isagenix. And my girlfriend told me, I told her no. And I have dealt with weight my entire life, and I just was tired of it. And all I heard was I wasn't going to eat for 2 days because I was going to cleanse. And I thought, nope, can't do that. And I wasn't going to do that. But what happens when people deal with weight, they have reality moments. They have moments when they're in reality. Most of the time they live in denial because it's painful. And so I had a reality moment. My youngest boy, I have 3 boys. My youngest was playing basketball. My husband's 6'4", my oldest boy is 6'4", and my other 2 are shorties, 5'9", 5'10". And my youngest one was amazing to watch. He gave it 110%, everything he did. His hands are as big as mine, and he could shoot a 3-point like nobody's business, and just fun to watch. But it was senior parent night in a small community, you know, so God and everybody's at the gym. And parents have to go down on the floor. And here I'm standing with my handsome husband, my athletic son, and I am so in my head about that moment that I ruined it for me. Because I'm embarrassed about the way I look, I feel as big as a house, I mean, all those things that go on. So I called my girlfriend the next day. I said, okay, I'm ready for your stuff. You know, I didn't really know what it was. And she was so excited. And she brought it down to me the next day. So that's a teaching moment. She had product on hand and brought it to me the next day because my reality window was open. So everybody take their thumb and their finger and go like that. I call that the reality window. And our reality window can go open, shut, open, shut. Reality, denial, reality, denial. That's life for lots of people with lots of different issues. It doesn't have to be just about weight. It can be about spending money, or it can be about whatever, you know. So when somebody's reality window is open, get that product in there. Get that product in there. That product will keep that window open. You know, you just put it right there. So you need to have it ready. So what happened, she told me she was making $5,000 a month. And I thought, oh my gosh, $5,000 a month. That might not sound like very much to some people, but at the beginning it was fabulous because we made about $2,400 a month. Raised 3 kids on that. We were your classic overextended Americans. We had great credit and used it all. And so I'm just trying to paint a picture, and I hope it isn't too much right here, but the thought of $5,000 a month, if I could do that for our family, was exciting. And I thought if she could do it, I could do it. And I said, what do I need to do? And she says, just get a story. Get a story. That doesn't mean go fabricate something. That doesn't mean embellish something. Embellish is liar, liar, pants on fire, you know. It is tell a story from your heart. Tell exactly what happened for you. And I lost 11.25 pounds in 9 days, and it gave me hope. I lost 60 pounds in 3 months. I lost 86 pounds in 6.5 months. And then I thought I would try what maintenance was, because I really didn't know what maintenance was. I knew about dieting, and I knew about cheating. Those are the only 2 areas of my life that I knew. And so that was really what it was. But I absolutely knew how big the business was going to be because I knew when people would lose 11 1/4 pounds in 9 days, they're never going to forget it. Never going to forget it. And with Isagenix, the company's been around for 12 years now. Products aren't on trial. So what happened is we just built a great business by telling our story. And so we became the 30th millionaires. It took me 4.5 years to earn $1 million. Doesn't that sound crazy? I used to have to tell you like this because I would get embarrassed about it because I didn't want to sound like a braggart. But I want to let you know, 4.5 years, $1 million, then it took us 4.5 to make the first one, and then it was like 4.5 to do another 3. So 4, whatever, I don't know. So let's tell you about this business. Okay. Oh, that's Todd. Oops. That's Todd. Todd's right back there, back of the room. He usually sits back there. It's usually what he does. But he's really happy and really awesome because in 2007 when he got to walk away, in 2008 the mill shut down for 13 weeks. And if we hadn't taken a look, just even taken a look and built something, we would have lost everything because we were paycheck to paycheck people. So those are the kind of people that you can really help with Isagenix. And that's why I love it. I mean, I lights me up. Okay. Isagenix founders. The little story that I like to say about the 3 people you see, I bought into their vision, and they all had vision because they all came from success in their career. They had success in life, and Isagenix was a choice that they made to bring something to have other people have a choice in their life. And John Anderson was an incredible formulator, formulated 2,300 products for over 600 different companies in his career. And when he retired, he was the 4th wealthiest man in Arizona. And I like to say, that must be pretty good. You know, snowbirds go to Arizona, right? So anyway, he knew Jim and Kathy Coover. Jim Coover came from the corporate side of network marketing. Kathy came from the distributor side of network marketing. They both have had incredible success. And you'll hear that as you learn more about things in our company. But they had the whole package there. John Anderson wanted them because he had the vision and heart and love for products. Business wasn't his forte. So he was out looking for the people that had that. Jim Coover said no. He was retired. He came to Arizona for his son to play golf. But he thought a little bit longer, and he said his son had never seen him work. He's an older dad. His son had never seen work ethics in this capacity, and that was something that he did, was one of the reasons that it changed his mind. And I'm telling you these things because these things are important to me. They made me lock in. And so Kathy had made $1 million in 3 other companies. She's very good at what she did, but the companies were not solid. They had lack of integrity. They didn't have financial stability. They had people with big egos that didn't protect the company. A lot of things that she had been exposed to. But the part that I think, if people are in network marketing, they get bit. You get bit with a possibility because it makes so much common sense. I use that word a lot. So she says, well, can't we just help him? Can't we just help him? And so then they all came together, and that's how it kind of came together. So I was wanting to know those things. When you go to more events, and you'll hear more specifics about the background of all of them, you'll be amazed. This is their vision, which is our vision as leaders in Isagenix. Our vision is to impact world health and free people from physical and financial pain, while in the process create the largest health and wellness company in the world. They did that and are doing that by having no compromise products. Their products will always be of the highest quality. They go the extra mile for all of that. And Kathy's vision was to help more people create 6- and 7-figure incomes than anybody, and they are doing that. Oh, one more, I have to go back. Jim Coover once said, if we had 1 million blenders a day, 1 million blenders a day, that would make us $1 billion a year company. And my brain, 1 million blenders a day, that meant 1 million people were getting at least one perfect meal a day. I like that. Thought that was cool, and I could buy into that. Isagenix. It's, you know, when anybody's looking at it, people that are already vested, people that have already been here, we already have our posture, we already have our belief, but these are some things that might help you get there. The fact that we are number 29 among direct selling companies worldwide, 27-time Stevia Award recipient. The Stevia Award is like the Grammys for business. 8 consecutive years we've been voted into the Inc. 5000 privately held companies. We're in 12 countries and expanding. Nearly $3 billion in cumulative sales, millions of pounds lost, and 122 millionaires, I believe it is today. Maybe still 121. These are things that make it, these are third party. These are great endorsements for you to understand what Isagenix is doing. Countries, and we just did Vietnam. Okay, these are things that people are facing. Financial stress, low energy, physical pain, obesity, and premature aging. Those are all markets, by the way. But the thing about the financial stress, I personally believe that financial stress is just as damaging as physical stress. And I think financial stress creates physical stress. So I love the fact that Isagenix is kind of a win-win. We got tagged as a weight loss company, but I didn't care. I mean, I know our products are way bigger than that. I know they're way more powerful than that. But weight loss is big. Weight loss is visual. It's emotional. And it's $120 million spent every day just in the U.S. on weight loss products. That's pretty big. And for people who maybe don't have the background that they feel comfortable with or strong about, maybe not being educated or in the health field, they know weight loss because they've experienced it. They've experienced either having too much weight or maybe being underweight. But if you want to talk about nutrition support, our products address it all. They address people to lose weight, to gain weight, to maintain weight. So it's really about the great core nutrition. Okay. I couldn't resist. Okay. Exposure to free radicals, toxicity, and unhealthy lifestyles all contribute to accelerating the aging process and deteriorating your health. Do you also eat these with a mask on? And the reason that I did that is because we live from the other side of the mountains. But every time we would come over here, we saw that. We would see those. And I'd say, they still do that, you know? And I think because I'm in an environment that's educating everybody every day about things that are happening to our food. And some people, I think if we got the oh well out of the vocabulary, maybe people would make better choices about things. Because, oh well, I'm here at the store. Oh well. It's cheaper than the organic. Oh well, I gotta get it. You know, so I just think if we would think a little bit more about that. And you can't really see that. And I have 3 boys, so I put the boy picture up there, because usually it's little girlies that are, you know, the fat pictures. But look at that, chips and pop and cupcakes, and he's just chubby as all get out, little baby. But that's the reality of life for a lot of people. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's kind of fat, but not that fat. But I mean, here we go. 46% of the adults, 31.5% of the children worldwide are overweight or obese. This is kind of sad, though. 86% of the men, 67% of the women, they work more than 40 hours per week and are still broke and very stressed. And I think that's very sad. And this is sad. It's a young couple, and you know that this topic is not comfortable. They're not happy, but they are doing something. They are looking at it. You know, some people just kind of live every day and don't look at things. So, oh, it's flashing. Okay. So, okay, think. People are faced with rising healthcare costs, growing unemployment, skyrocketing debt, all of this with traditional ways of doing business. It's time for a change. But the change needs to come quicker, and I think it's happening. I think people are really just, it's happening. And that's what I want to applaud all of you who have been in Isagenix, have stayed the course, growing your businesses, making it so people can come back and say, you're still here? You're still doing it? You're still doing that thing? I kind of want to say, yeah. Okay. So I am just going to tap on what we have solutions for. And then we're going to bring up the experts, which I get the pleasure of doing. We have solutions for weight loss. We have solutions for energy and performance. We have solutions for healthy aging. We have solutions for wealth creation. And this I'm going to have played just in a minute. This video, for some of you, I did not like people asking me a ton of questions about the products and stuff because it just wasn't my thing. I mean, I got over it, that it's all good and it works and it's great. You know, that's all I needed. But a lot of people really want to have more information. And so you just want to be a great tour guide. You want to guide them to where they can get information. And this is one of the new things on isaproduct.com. And so before I play the video, I think, should I do my introduction after the video of Dr. Colgan and Jolene? Okay, play the video. Lights, camera, action. Okay, that's okay. This is really, really quite cool. It's no volume. Dr. Cho.
I'm Dr. Cho.
There we go. Okay.
Does your health company offer no compromise quality? I'm Dr. Cho, Isagenix Chief Science Officer. Isagenix goes above and beyond to ensure products are safe, pure, and effective. The basis of our no compromise ingredient policy. In fact, Isagenix spends hundreds of thousands of dollars on testing of raw materials, finished goods, and third-party testing each year. Here's the process in 8 steps. Step 1. Scientists research and select raw materials. Partnering with John Anderson, the Scientific Advisory Board, and respected universities, more than 35 scientists review scientific literature to find ingredients and those that are safe and support health. Step 2. Isagenix identifies sustainable suppliers who produce fresh ingredients that are grown and produced by nature and meet requirements for effectiveness. Step 3. Isagenix qualifies manufacturers by performing extensive audits and relies on independent audits to ensure quality control and safety. Step 4. All ingredients must meet or exceed CGMPs, or guidelines from the FDA and other international regulatory boards such as Health Canada that must be followed to guarantee raw materials and finished products are safe and free of impurities. Step 5. While in quarantine, raw materials are tested for identity, purity, which includes microbial activity, pesticide, and heavy metals, strength to ensure potency, and finally, organoleptic property, meaning taste, color, odor, and texture. Step 6. After analytical and sensory testing, formulas are sent to commercial production. Step 7. Isagenix oversees finished product quality and compliance. This involves supervision of testing methods used by manufacturers, evaluation of identity, purity, strength, and composition of the final product, independent third-party testing to make sure what's on the label is actually in the product, and stability testing to confirm that quality of products sustain for extended shelf life. Step 8. Isagenix products are ready to be shared around the world. When it comes to safety and purity, there's no compromise with Isagenix products.
Which I am very grateful that our company has put that on the website for us to do, because most of us are not going to have Dr. Colgan or Jolene in our back pocket or with us for lunch every time we're meeting somebody. So those are the really good gifts that our company has done. I was given the bios for the next 2 people that get to speak to you, and they were lengthy because they're just awesome. And so I thought that I would quickly highlight some things. And when I'm done, I would love both of you guys to come to at the stage at the same time. But I'm going to talk about Jolene first. Jolene is actually a local girl, which you guys are very fortunate to have. She's a co-owner of a business called Balanced Bodies here in Spokane, and I'm just for specializing in nutrition for women in group fitness classes, which I think is wonderful. But her background has been a professor of health sciences and athletic training at both Eastern Washington and Whitworth University for a combined of 12 years. So it's something that is in her, which I love. That is just wonderful. And she's been very successful with Isagenix. She was able to retire herself at the ripe age of 37, you little baby girl, you. And so we're going to enjoy the passion that she's going to give to you guys tonight. So with that, we'll be having Jolene. And with Jolene, we have Dr. Colgan. He is an internationally renowned research scientist. He's acknowledged as one of the world's most popular scientific experts in nutrition, exercise, and the inhibition of aging. At the age of 75, he thinks everybody should be able to do one-arm push-ups. And what I know of Dr. Colgan, he is a very gentle soul, which I think is amazing, because it too is his passion and his desire. He has written many, many articles. He's very published. He is a sought-after human being for anyone who's interested in their health and longevity. And we have him. How wonderfully fun is that for Isagenix and Spokane? And so with that, he trained at the universities of Wellington and Auckland in New Zealand and Rockefeller University in New York City. He was president of the Colgan Institute in both the U.S. and Canada. And I know that he lived in busy California and sought after by all these wonderful women who wanted to stay beautiful. And yet he moved his family to Nanaimo. Is it Nanaimo or another island? Okay, you guys heard that, okay. So, but it's up there because the air was cleaner and it was just the lifestyle that he wanted to have his family be a part of. And so with that, I'm having both of these incredibly gifted, talented, and successful people in the arena of health come up and share with you on stage tonight.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, it's a privilege to be up here with you.
Oh, likewise.
We got the opportunity to be together this afternoon and had lunch and share stories back and forth and had fun in
It was good.
in my car driving around Spokane.
She has a wonderful new Tesla.
Yeah.
Oh.
All electric.
Oh.
I like to enjoy the finer things of life, which is why we do this stuff, this Isagenix stuff, right? Yeah. Because Isagenix is amazing, and you've been attracted to the company of Isagenix now for 3 years?
Yes.
3 years.
Since May 2011, so a little over 3 years now.
Yeah, and this is, oh, okay, thanks. If we ever get to our presentation, anyways. And I've been with Isagenix 5 years, and I started in Isagenix through my friend Betsy Frame, who cold called me one day and said, hey, you should give this cleansing stuff a try, and I'm doing this 30-day system. I want to show you all about it, and what do you think? And I was like, well, it depends on what kind of cleanse you're talking about. I've done lots of cleanses before, and I'm not sure I'm interested. And she's like, oh, it's not that kind of cleanse. And so if you're here tonight thinking it might be that kind of cleanse, we're here to rest assured that it isn't. And we'll talk a little bit about Cleanse for Life. But we're going to start with actually just kind of one of the systems you see here, and that's that 30-day system. Most people actually start with our President's Pack, which gives you kind of a plethora of the things that you see up here.
Yeah.
The 30-day system is a great place to start, but the President's
President
Pack is...
Pack now has got 3 different choices, so that's
Yeah.
good. 3 different ones.
Because we are going to
depending on-
talk about some of the main products that we use in Isagenix and shakes and Cleanse for Life, the Ionic Supreme, and our multivitamins, which are called our Ageless Essentials, and then our Isagenesis product, the Isagenesis, tonight. And as you can see from the 30-day, you don't see those vitamins or the product, the Isagenesis, in there, and that's why those President's Packs are such a good value
Yeah.
for people. All right, so let's start with the shake. Now, there are so many wonderful options in Isagenix when it comes to our protein, and one of the wonderful things about our Isoline shakes is our whey protein and where that's sourced from. And Dr. Colgan earlier today showed us a farm that he had
Yes.
visited. Would you like to
Yeah.
share with them a little bit?
Well,
about
I'm a very crotchety scientist. I like to see things actually in reality, and I had studied the whey protein concentrate in New Zealand first in 1981, and then tested it at Rockefeller University and wrote a little book about the best protein for muscle and strength in 1993. But a lot happens in farming between then and now, and I wanted to see that the actual protein was still there and still produced in the same way. So in 2012, Warren Lance and I drove around where Isagenix gets their protein from, and we drove through 100 miles of farms of cows out on the pasture. And it doesn't exist in many places anymore in the world. So New Zealand's still doing it that way, and they have a pact. The company is called Fonterra, and it's 10,000 small farms. And they pledge to produce the most natural protein and best in the world. And it is the best in the world. Mm-hmm. So it still is there. It's absolutely, really still there.
So Isagenix sources their whey protein from these happy cows in New Zealand that are grass-fed, and they're milked according to season. They're not injected with hormones or antibiotics. And so the product of the milk that comes out of that and the whey protein that's separated from the milk gives us the ability to feel that in our body. Now, how many of you in here are currently on Isagenix? Okay, most of you.
Well, that's most anyway.
Okay.
Yes.
And how many of you are already enjoying a shake at least a day, 1 shake a day? And how many of you would agree that within about 10 minutes of taking the shake, you feel a difference in your body? Yeah. You just feel something different about what's going on. It's a little bit of pick-me-up in the energy. You feel satiated, and life is good. So there's a couple of different options with our shakes. We have our Isoline shake, which is our 24-gram of protein shake. Perfectly balanced with your carbs, proteins, and fats, so it is a meal replacement all in itself. We also have the Isoline Pro, which I'm going to have Dr. Colgan talk a little bit more about the new NSF certification attached to the Isoline Pro, but you still can get it in the regular Isoline Pro or the NSF certified Isoline Pro.
Right.
The only difference is price, right?
Yes. Well, I was responsible for getting the Isoline Pro into Isagenix, because we had found that athletes in general can absorb 35 to 40 grams of protein at one hit. And that is not the average person, and John was designing more for the average person. Even so, his protein shake at 24 grams is twice what is commonly used in hospitals. So it was still quite high. So it took a bit of convincing for them to do the Isoline Pro, but it's proved very successful. And the only thing that was missing was a certification by the NSF, which certifies products for use by Olympic and professional coaches, so they can recommend them. And so I worked on that for quite some time, and we've just got it now. And I can tell you, your Isoline Pro shake that you take is exactly the same product, comes out of the same batch as the Isoline Pro NSF. But the NSF costs $3.25 more. because of it's got that label on it. So there you should know that. But it is the same thing. But many, many professional athletes won't touch it without that label. So.
And Dr. Colgan, wouldn't you agree that most people who are trying to lose weight should eat more protein?
Oh, it is definitely a way to go for anyone whose kidneys are not compromised in any way. It is probably the best route to weight loss there is. And I've used it for many years. We very seldom have had a failure in our clinic, ever, with people who stay on the program. But it takes a while, you know, to turn over your muscle cells just once takes 200 days. So you have to be a little patient. You get an initial great weight loss, and then it slows down because you've got to wait for those cells to turn over. You know, the cells can only perform up to the capacity of the program that produced them, that is, the conditions under which they grew. And then you have to wait for new cells growing under conditions of better nutrition to perform better. And that's difficult for some people to understand, that it does take that time. But with athletes, for example, I will not take anyone unless they take a 200-day program. And some people think it's because I want to make the extra money. No, it's because I want to see results.
Yeah. And another interesting little factoid is the thermogenic cost of burning protein in your body. That various things show that it can take up to about 25% of the cost of the calories. So let's say you're putting 100 calories of protein in your body, about 25 of those calories are getting burned up in the cost of or digesting that food in your body. So the more protein you eat, the more thermogenic cost there is to protein versus a carbohydrate or a fat.
Yes, and it is very satiating. It does affect a hormone, a satiation hormone that really controls our fat loss and fat gain. And it's called leptin, and the opposite hormone is ghrelin. And the whey protein concentrate has a specific effect on those two hormones, on their circadian cycle. So that's something that isn't put out there a lot, but it makes a big difference to the way that the protein is utilized by the body.
And the isolate shakes only need to be mixed up with water, which is another amazing thing. No, we don't have to add anything to them. Makes them convenient and easy, and what busy person doesn't want convenience in their life? And something that tastes good. The Isagenix shakes come in chocolate and vanilla, and we even have our kosher line of shake, which is another type of vanilla flavor. In the natural, or the Isoline Pro, we have 3 different flavors: natural vanilla, creamy French vanilla, and chocolate. And then we have soups. So if you're interested in having something a little warmer this time of year, we do have 2 options in our soups. And another option for getting your whey protein is the bars.
Yes, true. Yeah.
In 6 different flavors, so those are pretty fun. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add about the shakes?
No, I think that probably covers it. I think people don't appreciate the care in which Isagenix has produced this. It's not a Me Too product. There are at least 100 companies out there that have simply copied companies like Isagenix and reverse engineered their material and brought out shakes, and they don't know anything about what they're doing. And they use whey protein concentrate that's been heat or acid extracted and from battery raised animals. There's no comparison in terms of its potential for growth in the body.
Okay. Next product, Cleanse for Life. So when you do Isagenix, there's also the cleanse days. This Cleanse for Life is a natural nutritional cellular support cleanse product. So it's not the other type of cleanse that I was afraid of when I first started. And one of the funny things we talk about is not a poopy cleanse. It helps support all the systems of the body, not just the colon. But it does help with digestion as well. The aloe in the product makes the colon feel good. It's And one of the products Isagenix has that supports cleanse days is Isoflush. And you were talking
Yes.
about bentonite clay earlier.
That's right. And when I first examined Isagenix products, I went into the cleanse in great detail because I was looking for something where people could do it continuously, because the toxins come in continuously. And you could come to my clinic and pay $10,000 for a week of cleanse, and you go back with a lot of toxins removed. Or you could go to a dozen different clinics around the States and do exactly the same thing. But I realized after a few years of doing it that it was fooling people. It was doing the cleanse while they were there, but as soon as they went back to their old environment, they absorbed the toxins immediately again. So although it did help a little, it wasn't something that you could really rely on. And I tried to introduce a cleanse system. I was a consultant to Blackmore's, the largest company, nutritional company in Australia, and they refused to even consider it. Then I saw that Isagenix had one that was very similar. And then when I was doing the tour for Isagenix in Australia, I went into Blackmore's, and there they had a whole cleanse system that it's just recently brought out, which is pretty much a copy of the Isagenix one.
So we were referring to Isoflush earlier. And
Oh, yes.
this is what the bottle looks like. This is something you have every day of the 30-day system. And so we're referring to everyday cleansing at night. You're going to take 2 of these before you go to bed at night.
That's a really, really good thing. And I found that it was first used by Hippocrates. And I went to London to the museum to photograph the little clay, round balls of clay with the impression of the goddess Diana on them that were used for 19 centuries around the world. They were so effective at removing toxins from the body. And now bentonite, of course, is one of the largest cleansers used in industrial processes for water and other things because of its particular qualities, its particular electromagnetic quality of gathering toxins. And funnily enough, it does not gather essential minerals. It doesn't gather calcium, magnesium, iron, or sulfur, or any of the essential minerals it makes up. So it's a very interesting substance. And that then, when the liver releases the toxins through the bile duct into the intestine, then the bentonite gathers them up and takes them out. Pretty good system. I love it. And it costs pennies.
Yeah. So the Cleanse for Life every day, or on, you could have a little, these are full. I was expecting it to be empty. I'm like, anyways, every day of your 30-day cleanse, you could do a little bit of this.
Yes.
Or you could do a full day cleanse, or you could do a 2-day cleanse. I always advocate for a full 2 days of cleansing right up front. Not the first 2 days of your Isagenix 30-day system, but maybe day 3, 4, or 5, 6, but you do those 2 back-to-back cleanse days. And on the second day of cleansing is where all the magic happens with regards to fat loss. As the body goes into ketosis and your fat cells open up and start releasing those toxins back into your bloodstream. Therefore, your liver and kidneys and colon and all of the cleansing organs of the body go to work to neutralize those and excrete
They
them
go
from
into
the body.
overtime.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to talk just a little bit about the study that's being done?
Oh, yes. Well, yeah, the major problem with cleansing systems, I've written a lot in the Anti-Inflammatory Athlete about the evidence for cleansing. And there is quite a bit of controlled evidence, but not in the way that the FDA would like to see it, or not in the way that it would convince a number of, say, physicians that it works. So one of the things Isagenix started to do last year was to select some of the toxins and then measure their excretion from the body by using the cleanse system. Now we have, and when we started out, because even though I might be a scientist, I might know about a lot of things, I didn't know how complicated it was to measure the exit of toxins from the system. And it's not a matter of simply taking someone's urine or feces and measuring the amount of stuff in them, because it doesn't work that way. So now we've hired one of the world's top experts, and he has said to us, we looked at our original protocol and said, no, you can't do that. And so we've got a study ongoing, and I love it, because I'm absolutely confident it's going to come out positive.
Great. All right. Ionic Supreme, one of my favorites. All right, I'm going to grab this full bottle of Ionic Supreme. And this comes in liquid and powder, just like the cleanse does, but I prefer it in liquid. I actually used to always prefer it in powder, but then recently I've started taking the liquid. I'm like, I feel a little bit more of the effects on the liquid, so I'm just going to stick with this. But Ionic Supreme, full of adaptogenic herbs, antioxidants, adaptogens. We're going to talk a little bit about those. I'll let Dr. Colgan do that. But I call this Ionic Supreme, AKA Mommy Juice. Because for me, with two busy girls, I started this 5 years ago when they were 5 and 7, and there's just times when you just get that, like, okay, I'm going to go to the kitchen and pour my 2 ounces of Ionic Supreme. In the past, it may have been wine or something else, but this has certainly surpassed wine in its ability to calm me down, because the adaptogen that's in there, ashwagandha, one of the adaptogens that's in there, helps control cortisol levels in the body.
Right.
And it makes you feel less stressed. We're going to talk a little bit more about adaptogens and where they kind of came from and how Isagenix got the formulas.
Right. Well, do you want me to do that now?
That'd be
okay.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
I had started using adaptogens with athletes after Yuri Gagarin went into space, and we found out that the Russians were using them to keep their cosmonauts up there. And they seemed to have an effect that wasn't duplicatable by the American astronauts at the time. They couldn't stay up in space. It's very, very stressful out there, you know. Now we've learned a lot more about it. But Jim Coover went over to Moscow University when the Soviet Union's whole business was starting to collapse in 1991, and got Joseph Breckman, who's called the father, if you look him up on the internet, he's called the father of adaptogens. And he had done many, many experiments in the Soviet Union where they used to feed adaptogens to workers in factories because it made them work harder. And he had a lot of secrets that nobody else knew. And so Jim Coover went over to Moscow, and Jim tells the story that he went to Moscow at they had hired a plane to get there, because there wasn't any commercial flights at the time. And he said he went in with 3 body belts stuffed with cash. I think he told me he had $100,000 in cash, because the only way that Breckman was going to get out was to have a lot of money to pay off various people to get actually out of the country. And he said, I was terrified when I was going through their customs and things that they were going to search me. So he paid for Joseph Breckman to come to the United States, and in return, Breckman gave him the information about adaptogens. And when I found that out, I thought, wow, that's... And Jim has told me, he said, we haven't used half of the stuff yet. So it's very interesting, because I've been doing it, we've been doing it more or less on our own. A few scientists in the US, but they did extensive work, so we're looking forward to, in fact, they're already using some of the other stuff right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you're taking products like the T+ chai, E+ energy shot, or you're doing Isagenesis, you're also taking adaptogens in those products as well. So Ionic Supreme was the first product to have those in there, and it has several of the adaptogens that you said there's only 12 known.
There's only 12 plants that are known, that out of the 40,000 plants used in medicine that are classified as adaptogens. And it's a very strange effect they have in normalizing many functions in the body, but not stimulating them or depressing them. And so that's why they got that name.
And it's not just about putting an adaptogen in a product or pill and taking it that's going to have the effect on your body that you think it would have. If you go to the drugstore and buy ginkgo on the shelf, you don't know what you're getting. So
Right.
what makes Isagenix
Well,
stand
I
apart?
think what makes a lot of things different in Isagenix is the genius of John Anderson. John Anderson is a roughshod genius. He has no qualification, no university qualification at all, and he's one of the best formulators in the world. And he knows he has the most beautiful Perkins-Elmer analyzer and all sorts of stuff at his lab that it takes an expert to run. And he knows how to do it, but he's taught himself over the many years. And I'm very much honored to work with John, because he knows a lot more about things than people think.
Right. So the extraction techniques
Oh
that
yes, he
he's
has
using.
the most amazing extraction techniques that I would say that a lot of universities, and I've worked at Guelph University, it's got amazing botanical faculty, and I can tell you that John Anderson's lab in Arizona is the extraction techniques he uses are superior to Guelph University. And that, I know a little bit about it, so I can tell you.
Right. And so how many of you would say, out of all the products that we've talked about so far, so we've talked about Cleanse, first of all, raise your hand if you love Cleanse, Ionix, or Shake best when I say them. Who loves Shake? The Shake. I know it's hard. But I always say in a room at a launch party that if you ask a room full of people what their favorite product is, it's X product. I'm not going to say what it is, because I really want to see what you guys have to say, because I believe it's something that I'll reveal to you in a second. But so with the three we've talked about so far, how many would say Shake is they can't live without it? It would be the one thing they couldn't live without in Isagenix. Okay. All right. One more time, raise your hands really high. All right. How about Cleanse for Life? Okay. And how about Ionic Supreme? Ooh. All right. We have about, I think Shake, you raised your hand twice. I would have to say Shakes too, but Ionic Supreme is the one I always think that people would rank the highest on their list. It has the quickest effect in the body when you take it. I realize when I take an ounce or two of Ionic Supreme, within a couple minutes, it's a different effect. The other day I was having this super stressful moment, and that feeling when your heart is just, and you just want to go get a punching bag or do something like that. And I put 2 ounces of Ionic Supreme, shot it down, and within minutes, I didn't feel the effects of this stress anymore. I was still probably under stress, but it's pretty amazing stuff. Anyway, so I think the Shakes won out tonight, but the room's not full. Maybe tomorrow we can ask the same thing. Okay. Yeah, all right. Let's move on then. Ageless Essentials with product B.
Oh, yes.
So
Yes.
this is the big box back here. It's gotten taller. No, it's gotten, in August, they came out with the Isagenesis, and that is the new name for what we once knew as product B. So,
Yes.
and just to clear up any confusion, it still has product B Isagenesis on the label, but our Ageless Essentials daily pack, you can buy separate from the product B Isagenesis. That's the little blue top box. But let's talk about Ageless Essentials first. It's an AM and PM pill pack. If you take it with food, it better assimilates into the body when you do that, because you get a rush of blood to the stomach when you're eating food, and that extra blood flow will help increase the transport of the nutrients around to the body where we need them. So what kind of nutrients are you getting with Ageless Essentials? you're going to be getting an omega-3.
Yes, the omega-3 is very important, I think. And the Isagenix has one of the best, so that's a big plus.
Yeah, quite a bit of it too.
Yeah.
You get 1 gram of
Yeah.
DHA and EPA in one pill, or
No,
is it in both?
In both.
In both.
Yeah.
You're going to get 1 gram per day if you take both AM and PM. And it's easy to forget, but if you can have it right next to your shake, you're having your shake for breakfast, easy
That's
to remember
exactly
in the AM.
what I do.
Yep.
It's
And the PM one always seems to be the problem sometimes, because you're not necessarily having your shake always at night before bed. And then another pill in there is your women's or men's daily multivitamin essential. And the neat thing about that particular product is the way it breaks down into the body. It breaks down very quickly, and it also is time released throughout the day. So if you take it in the morning, you take your other one mid-afternoon or right around 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, you're getting 24-hour support with your multivitamin, versus some multivitamins that you might take that don't dissolve at all, number one, or don't
Right,
have the amount of vitamin that says it
Right,
has on
and
the label.
I think Isagenix was one of the first to put 1,000 micrograms of vitamin D in their vitamin D. That was before the USDA changed their policy, and before they recommended dietary allowance, and Canada changed its policy too. But we had always recommended more before that, but usually companies had not exceeded the 400 micrograms that was the RDA.
So they're not only putting in products that we need that we didn't really know we needed in the right amounts, but they're also making sure we're not getting too much of the fat-soluble vitamins, like vitamin A and E and K.
Well, it used to be thought because vitamin D is fat-soluble that it was toxic in fairly large amounts, and we know now that that's not the case. And in fact, if you have athletes especially are deficient in vitamin D, the New York Giants were tested just fairly recently, and about 60% of them were deficient in vitamin D, and the prescription for them, which because they had the team doctor, the prescription was 25,000 IU per day for 6 weeks, and then 10,000 IU per day after that, until they came up to a certain level of vitamin D in the bloodstream. So we know when it's got to that level at a professional sports team physician's level, then it's that the old idea of vitamin D being toxic was a myth.
And especially where we live here, we're not getting the vitamin D that we need naturally from the sun.
Well, certainly not in the winter.
Right. And this is a vitamin D3, which is also important. It's
Yes,
the
that's
form
right.
that you're getting is important as well.
There are different sorts of vitamin D, but the cholecalciferol is the vitamin D3 that is most effective.
And you're getting your vitamin D in what we call ageless actives. It's a little black pill. We call it the over-the-hill pill. The ageless actives pill really is good for anyone over the age of 18 anyways, because after about 22 years old, we start decreasing our levels of CoQ10 in the body. That's in that pill, as well as your vitamin D and resveratrol. So that's a super antioxidant pill.
So those are all things that you don't find in common multivitamins over the counter, or you used not to. You do now see them in Jamieson's and in the one-a-days, because they have learned from companies that were much more forward-looking, like Isagenix.
And then the last pill in the AM pack is your vitamin C.
Oh,
and
yes.
So Isagenix has put in a time-release vitamin C capsule. You take it in the morning. You only need the one in the morning, but you can take more vitamin C. It's a water-soluble vitamin. It means that if you take more than your body needs, you'll excrete it through your urine. But vitamin C is great for inflammation in the body and good for immune health.
Yes, and it's in the ascorbate form in multiple different mineral bases, so it is very well absorbed and very well utilized. Yeah.
And then product B, Isagenesis.
Isagenesis is a wonderful advance, and I'm very pleased to see that, because for several years of product B was a very bioactive formula in a powder in a gelatin capsule, and now it's in an oil in a gel cap. That makes a huge difference to its absorbability and its stability, and I'm very pleased to see it. And when I asked John first about it a couple of years ago, he said, I know, we're getting to it. And it's taken a long time, but it's very good, and I'm really pleased to see it being paired now in their brochure with brain and sleep support as really an attack on aging.
So product B, Isagenesis, really does help support the telomeres. The telomeres are the caps and the long ends of our chromosome, little tails. And when they get shorter, bad things start to happen in our body. Diseases start to take place. We get aged, we have aging, we get older. And so with Isagenesis, the founders, John Anderson and Bill Andrews, who is in Nevada and has a lab there, has won several prizes and is, I don't know, I can go on and on about his accolades in regards to what he's come up with the discovery of human telomerase in the body. And that enzyme, telomerase, is responsible for helping delay or stop that telomere from getting shorter. And what they've found is that Isagenesis is going to work in helping support that telomere length by reinducing human telomerase. And they're doing this in a lab currently. In-human studies are very hard to do because of reliability of tests that are available for measuring telomere length. But hopefully in the near
Well, they're
future.
going forward with the test with Maria Blasco, who, to my mind, is the foremost telomere expert in the world, who is head of the Spanish Cancer Institute. And she is one of two teams of scientists that have now used telomerase to reverse telomere shortening in animals. And the papers were published last year. So it can be done. We haven't done it in humans yet, but well, it's going forward, but it's very difficult work.
And this is our 4th generation product B, and so they're always constantly evolving it and discovering new things that are going into what's going to help support that telomere. And so every time you take your product B Isagenesis 2 a day, or 2 in the morning, 2 at night, you can rest assured that something is happening in the body, whether it's antioxidant support or oxidative stress support.
I think so.
Call it our super vitamin, right? That's a super vitamin.
I'll put it this way. We do not have human trials. Nobody has human trials on this science. But I don't want to find in 5 years' time that the human trials come out positive and I haven't been taking it.
Yeah, right. Well, at this time, I think we're going to bring up Dwayne. You want to come on up? And to just round out the whole product talk, I would love to have you give your product testimony. We're going to need a mic for this. If you could bring one up.
Thank you for this opportunity. I was asked to give my Isagenix story. 8 months ago, before Isagenix, this was actually a picture last year. I weighed 280 pounds. I was completely exhausted. I came home from work. I was exhausted. I laid on the couch till it was dinner time, got up, helped put the kids to bed, and rushed to bed as soon as I could so I could wake up the next day and start it all over again. Then my wonderful neighbor Barb Oviatt introduced me to Isagenix, and after my 9-day, I lost 20 pounds.
Whoa.
And just by following the program to a T, I lost 20 pounds, and I knew then that this wasn't about weight loss. This was about nutrition. And it changed my whole focus. My goals changed, everything changed. I didn't want to just lose weight because I knew if I just lost weight, then as soon as I got to my goal, I would start all over again just like I had done in the past. So I decided I wanted to be healthy. And now that's my goal, to be healthy. I lost the weight. I took my clothes, sold them in a garage sale. What I didn't sell, I burned them because I'm not going back. one other part to my journey was the ability to do this and to be able to get my products paid for just by helping a few of my friends find the same success that I had.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well,
I think we're done with our talk.
yes, we
Joni, are you coming up next? Okay. I wasn't told who was coming next. Welcome Joni Brewer back to the stage. Thank you. I have the clicker.
Well, I want to thank you guys because it was wonderful, just wonderful. I appreciate you guys doing what you did tonight. And we get to have more tomorrow, right?
Yes. Okay.
Well, what do you guys think? Was that fun? You guys- Well, you know, we want to kind of stay really close to time. And so I'm just going to tap on a part of the business, a part of the company that I love the most. Or most. I had to raise both my hands with Wildlife Shake and all the Bionics, so what's the most for me? I don't know. We love the business. And was it Dwayne that just strutted his little sexy little body across the stage? That was awesome. That was so fun. I'm so proud of you. I love it. And do you know what you said? That you're sharing with your friends because you flipping love it. And it's changed your life. And I think the business changes our lives too. Because how do you not say what's going on? Because most people are pretty nosy anyway. They're going to look at you and go, what is up? You know, so I want you to understand when we talk about money, it is with the same passion as we talk about product. So I'm just going to be able to touch a little bit on it tonight because we want to let you out when we said we'd keep you to 8:30. But this is just ordinary people with extraordinary results. Dave MacArthur, too, was a tired guy, really tired. He was a mechanic. And and you know, his business, he did well, but his business absolutely exploded with Product B. You know, so I want you to understand there's a lot of things out there that you will have a personal relationship with a product that will kind of light you up. Emily, I love her. She just reminds me of like one of those 1940s, when she wears that red lipstick and those tight dresses. She's so cute, but I mean, she worked hard, but she was a sponge, and she just got it. And she was raised by a single mom who worked hard, and so it was just like the fact that, she was one of our first 25-year-olds to become a millionaire. And Carolyn Rodriguez, flight attendant. So I want to address things. I'm a numbers person. I love numbers. But weight loss, it's a $20 billion market. Energy and performance, the gyms, $11 billion. That's a market that's big. Healthy aging, $114 billion market by year 2015. And where are we headed towards? 2015. So wealth creation, I believe, is unlimited. We're watching people in our company re-enter, and you'll understand that later with the compensation structure. But network marketing is a $167 billion market worldwide. Can anybody tell me what the NFL is? 9. What about the baseball, whatever, MLB, or what is it, Can't remember. Listen. I know, it's good, it's all good. I think that it's even less. But it took Isagenix 7 years to create $1 billion. It took Nike 11 years to do 50 million. Quite a difference, 50 million compared to $1 billion. So I just want to, and all we're doing is helping people set up an online shopping account. Really, if you just look at it that way, I didn't care if people did the business with me or not. I really didn't. And I just want to cast a little bit for you tonight. It's time to get excited. There's a lot of realities out there in the world today that are not exciting. stresses, people being in debt, people having bad health challenges. All of these things that are facing people every day, and this is the deal. Everybody's got stuff. Everybody does. And so you can't let the stuff be the reasons that you don't grow personally. And you don't let your own little gut inside, even if you're fearful, take a step. If I can do this, you can do this. If these people can do that, you can do it too. And so I want people to dream, and not just at night. And the other thing I want to say about dreaming is, do you remember the movie The Wizard of Oz? Okay. The movie starts out, or ends up, in black and white, but the dream is all in color. It's detailed, it's, just it's spectacular. So you need to dream in color. You need to have your vision in color of what you're going to do with your business. I'm just encouraging you to do that. My big goal was to stop the bleeding financially. The next big goal was to go to Costco without asking my husband, is this the check we get to go to Costco with? I mean, it's simple things like that. And then it just got crazy. But anyway, so the other thing about the Wizard of Oz movie, the yellow brick road. They had the tracks to run on. They need to do the yellow brick road. We have the tracks, and we will show you more of that tomorrow for the compensation structure. But this is what happened with them. They had those tracks. They had the yellow brick road. They not only had the tracks, but they could see Oz. They could see it. But what happened? They got a little distracted. They thought, oh, those flowers are awesome. Oh, that grass is so awesome. They get into it, and it's like it's got this drug that's making them all tired, and they're just going to go down and go to sleep. They just let something innocent distract them. So you really do need to stay focused. Stay focused on your vision for what you're going to do. And when vision, you need to cast your vision. You need to paint people into your vision when you're talking to them about, if you're talking to them about business. I love your integrity. I love your smile. I love the fact that you love nutrition. I would love to share what I'm doing with you. Give them a compliment. That is real. That is honest and truthful. And that will be fun. Personal growth. I got an award for personal growth in 2011 that when I'm sitting at the table, this big gala, I looked over at my husband, and I didn't get it. But I said to them, how bad was I? I'm getting this reward for this, but how bad was I? So personal growth is very necessary because it keeps your mind open. Just keeps your mind open. Potential. We all have potential to be successful to whatever we want to let our vision grow to. Your passion. You do need to love people. And sometimes if you don't, then this might not be, this would be a good place for you to grow. But I think that you do have to love people. I think you need to be generous of heart, time, and money. What lights you up? Think about what are you going to contribute to somebody else's life. One person can make a difference. Will you? There is a way, a better way, and we can show you that way. This is as simple as it's going to get tonight. You share with 2 and teach them to do the same. When you share with 2, your product is half off. If you love these 2 people, do we not want to help them get their product for half off too? And everybody does better with a partner because partners hold people accountable. So this is this little thing right here, tree, circles, squares, whatever you want to call it, it's 2 organizations that you will be responsible for being a leader. And a leader keeps themselves in the know. A leader is a reader. A leader is aware of what's going on so they can be there for their baby leaders. And so it's just taking responsibility. There's 2 packs that I have on here because they're the most popular packs that are purchased. This is the President's Packs, 4 different choices. This is a 30-day system. This also has 4 different choices. I'm going to go back. Do not judge what someone can afford. Ask them. Just ask them. Show them the value. Love the system that you are presenting. If you are presenting the President's Pack, know why. Don't do it because Lynn Hagedorn does it. Do it because you know why you do it. She knew why she was doing it, and she was incredibly successful at that. And so I love it because it's got free membership. I love it because it's got a free blender. I love it because it's got every little nook and the little things that are supportive for you. Those are things that I love. And I love people not to have to reorder right away. I love all those things about it. But if it isn't for them, I can love the 30-day too, because I want them to be happy. So those are things that you can look at. This is a question that comes up. Can I do it? She can do it, they can do it, he did it. Can I do it? They can love the product, have a great product story, but can I do the business? Questions come up all the time. This is something that I want just to close your eyes. Close your eyes, I'm going to read this to you. Everybody close your eyes because I can see. Okay. 121 millionaires are in Isagenix in the past 12 years. 21 this past year. 14 of those 21 never had network marketing experience. Of those 14, 11 of them created $1 million in under 3 years. And of those 11, 2 were under the age of 25. What do you say about that? You can open your eyes now. But I want you to just feel it. I mean, 21 people. This does not mean that they are making $1 million a year yet. These are people that have earned a cumulative $1 million. But all of them, 14 of them did it in 11 of them did it in under 3 years. That's amazing. And 2 of them were under 25. That blows my mind. You know, that's really just wonderful. So all you really have to do that is you have to have a need and you have to have a why. That is big enough to sustain you and to drive you. You have tons of partners in this company. Everybody loves everybody's success. I get so excited. People that I have seen just come in the company, and when I hear and I watch what they're doing, I get excited. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're on my team, somebody else's team, I don't care. Because you know what? Their success is my success, and my success is their success. And we have that culture where we are helping everybody. You got to really stand up tall with integrity. When people come to you and, oh, I don't like my sponsor, I want to, we bloom where we're planted. And they can be the leader of the group that they create. So those are the really fun things that you get to do in this business. So I want to ask, how many people in this room today have a need? Who have a need to build the business? And you know what the need could be? It doesn't have to be financial. The need could be an environment to associate yourself with, to be around positive people who are really making a difference. The need could be, I always say everybody needs a secondary income stream, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, whatever. You might even need it just to give it away. You know, it's just a really fun thing to be able to have that choice. And so those are the things that we're looking for the people we're partnering with, you know. And I get that might come later, that it might all be about you right now, and it's all good. It may be you need more money, and you need better health, and you need to have, you just need it. And it's okay to be honest. I love it when people say, I gotta build. I need to build. And so we just kind of calm them down and just get them in that stage where they're okay. Because you can do it here with Isagenix. It makes too much common sense. People eat in a good economy, and people eat in a bad economy. And we can show them, and this came from Cindy, but we can show them how they can take money out of their grocery budget and spend it at a different grocery store. That's what we're going to do. And with the compensation structure, are we going to be doing that tomorrow a little bit more? Because I know you came, but or pastime anyway. So whoever invited you tonight, you know, get a hold of them, and if they're brand new too, get a hold of their upline, because everybody would be more than willing to sit down with you one-on-one and show you some simple things. But the simple structure I showed you, it's really all about that. The question that you ask yourself is, if they know each other, they need to stay on the same side. Don't put two friends, one on your right, one on your left. If they know each other, same circle of influence, same environment, put them on the same side so they're working together. Creates peace and harmony. You do the best you can. Okay, with that, I know there's a video, but are you waiting to come up? Okay, this is a little bit lengthy, and it came from my son, who's kind of sports orientated, but we were looking for something that just could kind of hit you, and so enjoy.
Where's the right time to do a great thing? If you're waiting for that perfect moment, that perfect timing, it's not going to happen. You know what you have to do? You have to create the perfect time and the perfect opportunity and the perfect situation.
So that a lot of people become comfortable. They stop growing. They stop wanting anything. They become satisfied. People getting ready to go to jobs that they don't like. Jobs that are making them sick. You see, when you're not pursuing your goal, you are literally committing spiritual suicide. When you have some goal out here that you're stretching for and reaching for that takes you out of your comfort zone, you'll find out some talents and abilities you have that you didn't know you have. When the messenger of misery visits you, what are you going to do? What will keep you in the game?
There are things that you think you'll never need to know, that you may only need to know one time in your life, but that could save your life because you had that knowledge.
Unless you attempt to do something beyond that which you've already mastered, you will never grow. What is it that you looked at some point in time and you decided that you couldn't do it, that you talked yourself out of it?
You're waiting on your next door neighbor to make it happen for you. It may not happen. If you're waiting on your mother or your father, they may be so ancient in their thinking that they don't understand this opportunity that you have. And if you're waiting on them, it may never get done. You don't beg average people to be phenomenal. You don't beg good people to be phenomenal. You just are phenomenal, and you will attract phenomenal.
What reason can you remember that you can call on, that you can reach on, that can make you get back up? Find that reason.
If you're not where you are, if you're not where you want to be, if you don't have what you want to have, if you're not where you think you should be at this particular place, it has nothing to do with the system, but it has everything to do with the fact that you're not making the sacrifice. I want you to make that dream become a reality, because if you don't, you will be working for somebody else to make their dreams become a reality.
Everybody is against you or don't believe in you no more. And let me tell you something, that's a lonely feeling. It's a lonely feeling, particularly people that you're doing it for. Most people take their greatness, take their ideas to the graveyard with them.
Listen to me, if it was easy, everybody would do it. There are people right now who are working who don't want to work. There are people who hate their jobs, but they keep getting up to do it.
The wealthiest place on the planet is the graveyard. Because in the graveyard we will find inventions that we never ever were exposed to. Ideas, dreams that never became reality. Hopes and aspirations that were never acted upon.
The question is, what are you going to do with your time? What drives you? And greatness is a lot of small things done well. Day after day, workout after workout, obedience after obedience, day after day.
When things don't work out for you, when things happen that you could not anticipate, what are the reasons that you can think of that can keep you strong?
You will never ever be successful until you turn your pain into greatness, until you allow your pain to push you from where you are to push you to where you need to be. Stop running from your pain and embrace your pain. Your pain is going to be a part of your prize, a part of your product. I challenge you to push yourself.
See, it's easy to be on the bottom. It doesn't take any effort to be a loser. It doesn't take any motivation, any drive in order to stay down there on a low level. But it calls on everything in you. You have to harness your will to say, I'm going to challenge myself.
I mean that what you did last week don't count. Today is the only important day. There are 86,400 seconds in a day, and how you use those are critical. You got 86,400 today, and what you do today is going to cement who you are. Nobody's going to talk about what you did last week.
That the biggest enemy you have to deal with is yourself. There's an old African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm.
You have this opportunity of a lifetime. It means absolutely nothing if you don't take advantage of it in the lifetime of this opportunity.
I got a saying that when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, see, it's time now. If you want to make this your decade, you've got to start saying yes to your life. You've got to start saying yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future, yes to your potential, as opposed to saying no.
When you die on E. Leave no dream left behind, guys. Leave no opportunity left behind. When you leave this earth, accomplish every single thing you can accomplish. Listen to me, you're going to be here one day, but you'll never get here if you give up, if you give in, if you quit. And finally, guys, you got to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe.
Wow, isn't that great? How many are ready to say yes to their life and yes to their dreams? Please raise your hand if you would like to sign up and join our Isagenix team. Who's got the enrollment forms? Susan, please hold your hand up if you're ready to come on board and sign with Isagenix. In closing, again, I want to thank the great leaders that shared with us tonight. Jolene, Dr. Colgan, Miss Joni. Round of applause. Okay, here's what tonight offers if you sign. You get free enrollment for tonight. And what that means is your enrollment is $29, and that is free till actually tomorrow. Okay? What do we got going on tomorrow? Dr. Colgan's going to speak again, and he's going to just highlight the science behind Isagenix products, how we can live long, healthy, and vibrant aging lives, enhance performance and recovery. Very excited about having a corporate gentleman here, Kevin Andrews, and he will talk about value-based marketing in today's world, and he's going to narrow it down to Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, and Post Falls with some great numbers of how we can partner with what's going on in healthcare today. Okay? And so with that, I want to close. I want to thank Miss Joni Brewer, first of all, because you really have allowed me, and I get emotional because I do dream in colors now, and I honestly never did. And so my goal and my quest is anybody that chooses to partner with us, we hope that one day you too can say, the sky is the limit, and what do my children, what do we want to do? So with that, I say yes to you. I say thank you for joining us tonight, and tomorrow is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So thank you for coming tonight.